Devils aren't goofy and cute like that. What is this, secret layer drop? Get out of here with that nonsense.
You're listening to the Funkatronic Rex podcast, where a few self-proclaimed piratical nerds running a friendly local game store discuss the board, card, and tabletop gaming community they love and serve. We tend to be the goofy, gregarious, and non-grindy gaming geeks of the community. Welcome. Okay. Funkatronic Rex podcast, episode 2. Here we are.
Take 36.
Take 36. I do have our opening that we'll play, so it will give us the full opening. Everything.
That's not the opening.
All right, thought we didn't have a button.
Joining us tonight, we've got a special guest who we'll get to in a moment, but we got our regulars, the regulars with us. Who's in the crew tonight? You're not the regular, Paul. You're the guest. Anyway, well, my name is Court. Man. I'm happy to be here and hosting on the Funkatronic Rex podcast. To my right, I have...
my name is Michael. I am the magic guy.
Yeah.
And so much more.
Yes, so much more. And then obviously we have Mike.
Hi, I'm here again.
And you are busy gluing things.
I'm
right
gluing
now.
things. We have a segment about what I'm working on, and so I'm working on something.
It's true. Yeah, you're multitasking.
Okay, this is the magic that I make happen.
I love it. And then in the hot seat, in the guest seat, we have Mr. Paul.
The seat
Paul,
is a little warm.
It is a little bit. So why don't you introduce yourself, Paul? Tell us who is your daddy and what does he do?
Hi, I'm Paul.
And for those of you who know Funk intimately, you know Paul. Like one comes with the other.
I've been in existence at Funk since day 2. So yeah, I'm on the Discord as the sassy one, and I do the website thing poorly, and I'm usually around, usually just causing havoc.
But what's great about the website part too is I think on there when you first go, it says something like Funkatronic Rex, like we love games and we love everybody here except that Paul guy.
Yeah, yeah, I put that there.
It's so good.
So that little segment used to have a picture of me standing behind one of the displays with my head just barely poking over it. And so it was funny because if you look close enough, you could see me in that picture. Yeah. I think I changed that picture at one point because it was old, but...
We just need to do a new one.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
We have a website?
Yes, we do.
Funkatronicrex.com.
Thanks to Paul.
Good job, Paul.
It used to be funkatronicrex.games for a short while, but for reasons that we don't need to get into.
For a future episode.
Don't even want to know.
Mike's fault.
I don't know about that. I don't know if that's valid. My fault.
So, we've got Paul in the house. This is great. Episode 2. I'm glad that we're bringing more folks in that are a huge part of the store. And so, speaking of the store, what we've got going on somewhat recently and everything is we've got a 40K campaign coming up in May.
Ooh.
That's kind of the big hot ticket that I'm excited for. I'm writing it currently right now. So it's going to be slow grow style, 750 points starting, and then every other Saturday it's going to go 6 weeks till we hit 2K. Non-grindy, narrative-based, just fun. It's going to be very cool. I'm working on some mechanics to where you can exterminatus a planet that you're fighting on. Like in the campaign, we'll have a map, and at some point, points on that map will be exterminatus.
So for those of us that are not 40K experts, that just basically means Death Star a planet.
Death Star a planet.
Okay.
Blow it up. Yeah. Delete that planet.
Thank you.
Yep.
Except I think Death Starring a planet's probably cooler.
Are we aiming for Saturdays again?
Yes, Saturdays.
Can I reserve a spot? Because I didn't get to play in the last one.
And
I have an army.
I guess, because you own the store?
I mean, I'm just hoping
if you
that I actually get to play. And it's not competitive, so I can't be too salty, right? I mean, I probably still will be, but...
Yes, you can.
I mean, I don't need to be because it's not competitive. I will be.
You will be. Where there's Mike, there is salt.
I mean, my people are from the sea. There's salt. It's that simple.
Yeah, so that'll be the cool thing coming up in May. I'm excited. We're only going to do one one day of the weekend though. The last time we did it, it was Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the way to go.
Shout out to the Sunday crew.
Sunday crew. As far as what is going down at Funk, the campaign, excited for the summer. We're gonna have some sales coming up and everything. But yeah, what's going on in your guys' world with the hobby highlighting? I'm gonna go with Mike first.
You know, it's really disappointing that somebody did such a good job painting before and subassembling, and then not finishing this Blood Angels thing because. What is that? The emblem is so well painted, and I'm going to clip it off because this is getting ork-a-nized.
Yeah, so Mike is kind of tearing apart, kind of re-gluing a Thunderhawk right now.
Is that what this is called?
Yeah.
A Thunderhawk?
Right, Michael?
We don't play Imperium.
I think so.
Yeah. I'm a Xenos guy.
Some good guy nonsense. I'm not sure.
So, but yeah, he's literally standing, Mike in front of him, and glue and a lighter and a cutting mat, and he's kind of just ripping pieces off of this thing because we're gonna organize it.
This doesn't belong there once it's organized, but it's already the right colors. It will go faster.
For those that can't understand what we're saying, we're ork-a-nizing, not organizing.
So no, it's with a K.
Yeah, ork. This thing will be a Thunderhawk.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Thunder.
Yeah, Thunderhawk.
And Hawk is like H-O-K-K. Oh, yeah. I'm into it.
It's my Thunderhawk. Yeah.
Yep. I'm with it.
Cool. Paul, what do you got going on in your world hobby highlights? What are you working on?
I am giving Star Wars Unlimited a go. Mostly focusing on the multiplayer format. So hopefully we'll be able to see that come to fruition. But I built a deck today in a very quick and haphazard way. Other than that, my D&D group got back together, so we got to run a fun little D&D session where we did nothing but shop for like 4 hours straight. That was fantastic. Yeah. Okay. One of my characters had to spend most of the session going through immigration.
Oh wow. All right.
It was just goofy fun.
Yeah. What do you play? What kind of character do you play?
I'm the dungeon master.
Oh, you're
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've played. I actually am a player. I'm playing currently I'm playing a turtle monk in a different campaign that I play on the internet with some work friends.
Is a turtle like a
it's like a turtle.
person?
It's a ninja turtle.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But it's instead of being like a badass teenager from the sewers, you talk like an ant and think this is really a good idea. But it's not. The character is not working out very well. The party is very violent, very murder hobo-y.
Oh,
okay.
So what ends up happening is my pacifist vegan monk ends up like just walking out of the room a lot. So I'm thinking I might have to retire him and switch to something a little bit more smashy.
Okay.
But yeah, so my main game that I look forward to.
Vegan monk.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it took me a moment to just register all those words together. Yeah. Pacifist. I'm off axis. I get it, but I'm loud and I want some variance in my voice because I don't like the sound of it. Anyways.
Right. He's a turtle.
A turtle. Passive.
Pacifist.
Vegan monk.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
So he punches
I'm with
things,
it.
but he only ever punches in non-lethal
these are concepts
damage.
that I didn't think would come into my D&D set. And this is not my D&D session,
right.
So not a problem. Because I just might say no.
He has no problem defending himself.
No.
He has no problem with punching and kicking things and turtle smashing things with his shell.
Is he eating a lot of lambus bread?
That's Lord of the Rings.
I understand, but I don't know what the equivalent would be in Dandy that he would be eating that would be vegan. And I figured lambus bread is
a turtle.
Lettuce,
carrots,
yeah,
apples.
But he's a big dude, so he's just
Apple
eating
slices.
Heads of lettuce.
Oh, you're the vegan monk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is his character.
Okay.
This is the character.
I thought you were describing someone else in your party.
No. Yeah.
Well practiced.
All right, so back into D&D.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So
cool.
my campaign's been the one that I run. The campaign I've been running has been going for like 3 years, and it's in a world that I designed where basically I call it the dragon apocalypse.
Okay.
So for the last 1,000 years, all of the known races have been sheltered into one city because the dragons have killed everything else.
Oh.
And so the party is like
So it's like Rain of Fire.
Well, this
Yeah.
kind of sounds like
Ooh,
Attack
yeah,
on
yeah.
Titan.
Rain
Okay.
of
Okay.
Fire.
But like fantasy.
but fantasy.
Yeah. And no Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah,
No.
so like they went to the
Balls.
dwarven city, which was one of the last cities to fall, and there was a white dragon that had taken root there, and they went to the city of Narset, which was a desert city that was overrun like 500 years ago. Just fun stuff.
Sweet. Nice.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
I like it. I'm glad you're playing again. Sounds
Oh,
good.
Earthborn Rangers.
You said some words. I don't know what that means.
Earthborn Rangers is another thing that I've been doing to spend my time, mostly solo. But that's it's a
You know,
living
you set
card
up
game.
these jokes that are just, I think, beyond PG-13. Not gonna. No, that's it.
It's
Go
low
on.
hanging fruit.
You know.
Earthborn Rangers is a new game from Andrew Navarro, who used to run Fantasy Flight Games.
Oh, okay.
And
So I got some words to pick with him then.
and
I love
he started
and hate
his
FFG, so yeah.
own business, and it's a living card game that similar to like Arkham Horror, Lord of the Rings.
Say more.
But it plays very differently, and it plays really well solo. So that's how I've been.
but
spending my
multiplayer,
time.
it's cooperative.
It plays up to 4 players.
Okay.
Cooperative against the. It's not. There's no conflict like you find in Arkham or Lord of the Rings. So it's just exploration. So I liken it to basically it's like playing Skyrim with cards.
All right. Michael, what do you got going on?
I'm kind of here with Paul on Star Wars Unlimited. New game, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Can't complain. So
Yep.
been building decks, trying to learn the games inside and out. So when I host more Learn to Plays,
Yeah.
it'll be easier to teach.
Who's your
the
leader?
The learn to play you did kicked off really well.
Well done,
you did
sir.
a good amount. Yeah. Good job, dude. Yeah. Are you building like for the multiplayer format like Paul is too?
I am not
Okay.
currently.
Is that an
But he
actual format that they're supporting?
It
Yeah.
is
Okay.
Twin Suns.
What kind of deck is it? that
So
you're
I
building?
have 2 in the works. So first of all, my favorite Star Wars character is Bosk, the bounty hunter lizard.
Not a
Super
leader.
cool.
Coming from a Seraphon player, like that's just spot on too.
So yeah, when I saw that he had a get card in game, I was like, oh cool, I'm going to build this deck. Sadly, he's not a leader, so he can't be the one leading the deck. But you got Boba Fett, which is
But they could make him a leader in like a later set.
I think
right?
so.
Okay.
Boba Fett?
that would be cool.
No, well, I mean, isn't Boba Fett already a leader?
Yeah.
Boba Fett?
Boba Fett?
Where?
Low hanging fruit, you said.
Dig it. Cool. As far as hobby stuff that I'm working on, I actually have a buddy of a buddy printing out a ton of Mordheim terrain for me. So I might be doing a Mordheim board. I know. Stop. Calm down, guys. Calm down. I know you're really excited. Calm down.
Hey, remember when you said those are words?
That's
So
what Paul gathered.
I keep forgetting, Paul, that you don't play tabletop mini
He
stuff.
does. He's just not the ones that we play.
Just not the Warhammer ones.
Yeah, the Hammers of the War. So Mordheim was a game that GW came out with in '99, and it is based in the fantasy world. And essentially, comet hits city, destroys it, warpstone everywhere, cults, all that, and people rush into the city to try and get warpstone and riches and things like that. It is a tabletop skirmish style game played on a 4x4 board, very claustrophobic, very like alleyways, ruined buildings and all that stuff. You have a war band of about 7 to 13 different minis. That's it. And it's very interesting too because you can't pre-measure stuff. So when you declare that you're going to make a charge with this one model, you say, I'm declaring the charge. Let's see if he's there. Double his normal movement. If he's outside of it, nope, he misses it.
So this is not a.
Missed the charge.
So this is not still a an official format supported by Games Workshop. It's an old system.
It's an old system. It has been
Shelved
brought back.
but like it's still
You can, yeah. So it's free online. All the rules are free online
Right.
now. It was kind of big when it came out, and then kind of died and everything. But the community has really brought it back with, I think it was like Broheim and a bunch of other really good websites, and it's fun because it's accessible. Like you only need, it's like Warcry. You only need.
yeah,
so
I was
many
going to say it
models.
sounds
Yeah.
a lot like Warcry.
But there's
Is this
more of a
just
storytelling
the AOS
aspect.
version of Warcry, basically.
Well, Warcry
It's the fantasy
is,
version of Warcry.
Yeah. But
So this takes place in Warhammer Fantasy,
Yeah.
not in Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I follow.
But there's more of like a narrative element to it, I would say. Like your skirmishes and stuff tell a story in a very cool way, or they don't have to, but
Right.
we tend to. Anyway, so I'm excited to get this terrain, get it painted up and stuff, and do some more terrain for the shop as well, painting. So that is the hobby highlight.
That's it.
That's it.
I
That's
talked
all
for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, but you're a turtle. That's more interesting than painting a building.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough.
So, what is in the case? Let's talk case decks. Michael, you've got something in front of you. What are you working on?
I am working on a blue-black zombies deck for Commander. We had two, so I am using the best parts of both and making one solid deck. And then it'll probably go to the case because zombies doesn't really need playtesting. Pretty self-explanatory.
Who's the commander in this?
It'll probably be
Wilhelt?
Wilhelt,
Yeah.
but the Scarab God I think is cooler.
Ooh, why don't we play that?
Because Wilhelt is
Wilhelt's
better.
what, a 3-drop or 4-drop?
He's a 4-drop. Scarab God is a 5. You know, it's going to be the Scarab God.
That's what I'm talking about.
Decided.
Scarab God's more fun.
You know, whoever buys it can just swap them out if they don't like it.
This is true.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good. Cool. What are we going to call it? Because that's kind of the fun part.
We haven't gotten that far.
Yeah, we haven't gone that far.
Okay.
With something like this, it's a little, for me at least, it's a little hard just because it's a zombie tribal
Yeah,
deck.
it's very
that
on the
explains
nose.
it.
Dimir zombies.
When
Go.
we make one of Mike's bad deck ideas and like, oh, that's easy, or that's easier just because, you give it a goofy name.
Yeah.
Goofy deck, goofy name.
So it's just straight up Dimir zombies.
Yeah, just zombies.
Yep.
So what do we
Yep.
just call it, like Thriller?
No, that's definitely red. That's Grixis
That
zombies.
is. It is.
That's Grixis
Because of the
zombies for
jacket.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
'Cause of
like
the jacket.
Draximundar. Sure.
Sure.
All day
Yeah.
long. Off axis again. See that?
There it is.
Yeah.
On axis.
Oh, I
Off.
noticed.
Yeah.
On.
I got tired of calling
Off.
you out on it.
Hey, here's the thing. I won't be stopped. Go ahead. Proceed.
Oh my gosh.
Now I'm
I'm probably
here.
gonna knock this over too.
Now I'm there. Look around. That's my incredible singing voice.
beautiful.
That work. Yeah.
So that's what's in the case, or what's going to be in the case. It's not in the case yet, but by
Not
the
yet.
time this is published, it might be in the case.
Yes.
and we might. Well, we're not going to call it Thriller, no, but
No.
it
The
needs
red
to have
jacket.
some cool name. It needs to have a cool name.
Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, I mean that's just straight up
Easy.
That's it.
Boring.
Yeah,
You're boring.
It's too obvious.
You're too
That's the point.
obvious.
Just call it the bicycle girl from episode 1 of The Walking Dead.
I don't even know what you're talking about. The show's gone on too long.
That's okay.
We were just talking about this earlier today.
It ended, and now it's coming back. It's
know.
come full circle.
It's-
It's now the zombie.
I couldn't even finish it. Like I was sick for 2 weeks,
I
like
stopped
with the
watching
flu
season 2.
years and years ago, and I was like, I might as well binge this. And I got to like season 5, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Nope.
You got
can't.
way further than I did.
Oh, I got further than that. You're not missing much.
It's the same. It's so formulaic. It was cool, but I get it. The humans are the bad guys. We get it. Humanity.
Good for Atlanta.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Can I ask
Hot-
a question real quick?
Yeah.
Is this a transport? This thing, this Thunder? What do you Thunderhawk? It's a
Thunderhawk.
transport.
Thunderhawk.
I'm gonna
Is
double
there
check.
Oh,
is
it
there
might be a storm
is there
raven.
an orc equivalent, like a flying transport for orcs? I don't know if flying.
No, I
orc
don't think so.
transport.
Don't they just have like a
Oh,
rocket
it's a
jet?
Storm Raven gunship.
So, but
Storm
this
Raven
one's
gunship.
obviously a transport.
Yeah.
That orcs don't have a flying transport. So I just got to seal up the front and have less fun.
Ooh, what if it's like dropping a bunch of bombs?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
shh. Gosh, get ahead of me. I got the bombs.
Just
Just
put-
not here.
Just put an orc hanging out.
It's going to have a
front,
ridiculous
like, with a
amount
gun.
of bombs to where, like, how is this thing getting off the ground?
Yeah.
But I was just wondering if I had to seal up the front because it can't take
No, you
troops.
just put more bombs in it.
Well, I mean, what? Just like, it's just rip off the launch bay and you just see a
they're
bunch
just,
of
like,
bombs
tied
in the
on.
front?
Or what if
Or maybe
instead
they're
of bombs,
I'm with
peeking
that.
out. Maybe
I'm
the
with
orcs are
that.
peeking out, making sure they're dropping them or
or
something.
what if instead of
I don't
bombs,
know.
it's like dropping a bunch of like Gretchen, like in Toy Story 3 when the piggy bank guy, I forget his name, he drops like the monkey bomb and it's all those little red monkeys.
What if the Gretchen are riding bombs like in Doctor
Strangelove, yeah.
Just a bunch of them.
What if
One of
it's
them's gotta have
open
a
and it's just
hat.
like an orc hanging on for dear life?
I think I did that with my DACA jet.
Oh.
There's an orc hanging on the back, like, ah!
Yeah. It's cool. I like it.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I had to
No,
sidetrack.
it's good.
there.
So we're moving towards hot pulls. Hot pulls. So we're always cracking packs. Always cracking packs in the store.
It's
and
Alex's fault.
sometimes there's some hotness in there for sure. So Martin, friend of the shop, showed off. Did you guys all see it?
Was it?
There's a foil discard with a magic
Oh
pack.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That was sick.
I've only seen the black discard with the magic pack.
For those of you who don't know, I'll post a picture in the show notes, but it was a gold foiled magic card that just says discard across it. And it is apparently a filler card from the manufacturer, the printer, that is literally supposed to be discarded and thrown away. And he got it in his Fallout Commander deck,
Fallout
like,
Pre-Con
promo
Commander.
It was cool that it was foil.
Collector
Yeah.
booster
Yeah.
sample pack.
thing. Thank you,
Yeah,
Paul.
that's
Yes.
just a few words.
Yeah, it's a few words. But it was crazy. He showed me, he's like, do you know what this is? I was like, I don't know, but I know what it says. And yeah, manufacturing mess up. I love that.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Can I say on the subject of the Fallout packs, like those packs were fun to open for a set that I was pretty torn about coming into. The packs were a lot of fun.
I mean, it's hard to hate on a pack where you open 15 cards and 14 of them are rare.
You're not wrong.
Like, oh, look, and the last one's a rampant growth foil with new art.
Yeah.
Playable. Let's go.
I think the biggest thing for me was my frustration behind it was back in '98 when the first game came out. Like that's how I spent my nights instead of doing homework was playing Fallout 1. And so I've always been a fan of the series, and then I saw the decks, and I was like, okay, well there's some cool cards or whatever, and I didn't like. Ask me 10, 15 years ago, I would have like gobbled up everything that said the word Fallout on it. But these magic decks weren't speaking to me. And so just opening a couple of the packs and then seeing the VATS treatments and things like that, they were a lot more fun than I expected.
That was very hipster of you, but I appreciate it.
Well, you
It
know.
was just like, I approve. Yes, it was good enough. But I can understand.
Do you want me to?
No. I can. Oh, God, what is happening? He's putting his hair down.
He thinks he's
He's
Fabio.
flipping it. He's
Hey
flipping
Paul, we
it.
can't hear you.
I got my hair in front of my face.
No, I can totally appreciate that you've loved this game since day one.
Yeah.
And for this to come out the way it is, and kind of the shows following up in the next few months too, right? Like it's kind of a scary time or an exciting time to be a Fallout fan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Fallout 76 was commercially a huge failure. So everyone's kind of anyone that's been a fan of the series is kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
On edge.
Yeah, on edge.
Yeah.
Trepidatious. What's
that's a good
what's
word.
the Spanish word for it? Trepidacio. That's Spanish. My Spanish is flawless.
Beautiful.
I like how hard you make it not to curse at you.
That's good. Yeah, so hot pulls, that's good. Yeah, you and Paul, you tend to pull pretty good on the packs.
No, I just buy enough. I just blow enough money that I hit.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, as Alex says, and he's not here to declare it himself, I'm just oh my, what are you for the Mike is just going to town on this model.
Well, there's
Shipping
an
it
ad
away.
mech nerd in the cockpit, man. I can't have that. This is getting organized.
I was gonna say,
Get him out of there.
As Alex always says, spend money, get good.
Yeah.
Spend Spend money, get good.
Yeah, absolutely.
There it is. Yeah. There we go.
Is that why I bought a store?
Yeah.
And speaking of that store, we're going to move into store lore, and I want to bring in a fun part of this store that happened recently, which Mike is kind of working on currently. I think this was part of it. So the store lore goes, I was working on a Saturday here. We got a phone call. I picked it up, and it was this lady who was asking if we sell and play Warhammer and stuff. And I said, yeah, of course. She said, well, do you guys take donations? And I said, sure. I mean, you said Warhammer and donation in the same sentence. This sounds great. And
Waste not, want.
waste not, want not. So we were chatting a little bit about what she might have and this and that. But I asked, well, so why are you possibly getting rid of this stuff? Because it sounded like a lot. And she said, well, my brother passed away somewhat recently, and this was his collection. And there's just a pause in the conversation, and I appreciated what she was saying and said, well, thank you for considering us. And so she said, well, yeah, I'm still putting stuff together. There's still a lot we're finding, and we gave most of it away, or what we thought was most of it away, to his best friend. But we found a lot more. And so I don't want to take it to Goodwill. I don't know what to do with it. And you guys came up on Google, so here you go. And I said, well, great, thank you. So 2 weeks pass. She phones up again. I answer. She says, hey, I'm going to come in today if that works for you. I'd love to just drop all this stuff off. I said, sure. She comes in and brings in, I want to say, 5 boxes. And by boxes, I don't mean like here's a kit. Like storage boxes. Like pretty decent sized.
2 trunk worths.
2 trunk worths.
Like a
yes.
regular car size
Yeah.
trunk worth. Not like a giant Suburban, but
2 car trunk worths full of
$295 Civics trunks worth.
worth of painted, unpainted, variety of fantasy, mostly 40K armies, and really cool stuff. Like you could see the progression in her brother's Warhammer hobbying. It was unpainted stuff that was old school, like 2nd and 3rd edition 40K, which is where I started. And then it got to like, oh, now he's playing this, and now he's painting better. And you can see like what his latest army was based on how it was painted and the models and what edition they came from. It was amazing. And it was, to be honest, like really, it was kind of tough.
You know, I was thinking it was really nice to appreciate a piece of the man's existence that his family might not have been able to in the same way.
Yeah.
Like as nerds, we know how long a hobby can be. And I don't think his sister knew she had something that mattered to him.
Sure.
We got to like really go through it and see like, wow, he got good at painting.
Yeah.
This is a well-painted army. And no, it was a very interesting experience.
Yeah, it was kind of surreal.
Jessica, correct?
Jessica, I'm
Thank
pretty
you,
sure.
Jessica.
Yeah, thank
again,
you if you're listening.
Sorry again for your loss.
Yeah, and it
Sincerely.
was tough, like going through this stuff because, yeah, you could see how much time and effort he put into these models and armies. Certain like this was when he was playing Chaos, and that's clearly 5th edition. Oh wow, he must have gotten into Space Marines when the new models dropped during this time, and it was cool. And it was just really neat to see this collection, and we wanted to honor it. And so we spent, I think, like a week re-gluing pieces that kind of got busted, finding new parts that were kind of scattered throughout different boxes, and piecing all this together and gluing things that were busted off. And I was so moved by one of these armies. It was this beautiful purple Space Marine army that he converted in really cool ways. Like all of his jump pack Marines were like jumping off of antennas. One of the coolest ones was this dude who's got like an axe coming down onto a guardsman who looks like he's praying to the Emperor. Like from behind, just he's like, you're going to die. It was so metal. And so I needed to trade in for this army, so I snagged it, and I
That
wanted it
piece
to live on.
was done when they were still doing pewter.
There are pewter pieces.
Yeah,
Yep,
a lot of
yep,
the army.
a lot of them.
So
a
it
lot
was
of this
metal.
stuff was met. Yes. There's Paul. There it is. Yep.
Thanks. I'll
Don't
be here all night.
encourage him. That's a bad idea. That's much more appropriate.
Yeah, you're right though. But a lot of the stuff was old school. It was cool. So I wanted to keep this army, so I traded in the shop for it, and I felt compelled to keep it and play it. So thank you, Jessica. You are definitely part of the store, and your brother is definitely part of the store, and we're so thankful that you chose us to pass on his Warhammer hobby. Yeah, that is our store lore. Let's move on to our main topic of the evening. This is good game, bad rule book. And this came about because the other day I popped in and Mike, Gianni, Paul, you were there, and who else?
Cristo.
And Cristo.
Joined us.
Cristo. What's up, Cristo? We're sitting at a table, busting out this beautiful game, and I won't spoil it yet, but about half hour in, I look over and Mike looks so pissed.
I mean, that's like 90% of the games that I play with Mike.
That's true. That's true.
Not pissed because he's losing. You guys haven't even started yet.
That was the thing. Look, I need to be doing something in 5 minutes or less.
Yeah.
Period. Game rule number 1. I need to be doing something in 5 minutes or less. If you're still talking after 5 minutes, I've tuned out. I want to go take up smoking again. And no, I'm done. 5 minutes or less. We're doing something. Stop wasting my time.
Okay, then I'm just going to pass it to you, Mike. Tell us about your experience.
I don't even
What
want to
game-
talk about
what-
this
you
game. It was
have
so
to.
frustrating.
What was the game? What was the game?
I'm sure there are people out there with a lot more patience to read bad rule books and a lot more patience for poor tutorial videos.
Oh, man.
The learn to play video, whatever it was that they told us to watch that just referred back to the rule book.
And it was like the
to find
official
a
learn to
list
play.
of
It wasn't
those people.
somebody.
No, it wasn't some
that
like
awesome
Joe Blow.
dude, like, watch
There's
it played.
probably Joe Blow, somebody like Let's Play It has probably
Yeah.
done a
Yeah,
10
yeah.
times better one.
And
We
they're
should have
great.
been watching that one.
Yeah.
And I still have to go do my homework now. That's the first problem. Why do I have to do homework to play a game?
Well, you can find a list of those people in the second rule book on page 26.
Exactly. That's the problem. Because
we-
I'm already on a second rule book.
But
What?
Are we not naming the game?
I'm trying to. So
I feel like you're.
So-
really
Did you
forget what it's
towing
called?
the
So
line
here's
there.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. In the devising of our podcast, I told Court I have to try and curb my salt. I'm a very salty dude. It is very hard for me to talk about this without a serious anger, a la Samuel L. Jackson, because this rule book. Oh man, I don't think it does the game a lot of service to name it, but like feels like a cop out. I don't know. Do I name the game?
Yeah, we had one copy.
It was what, $160, right? You know what? Yes. No, I am going to name the game because insert bleep word here.
Chicken.
2 years ago. It was about 2 years, right, Paul?
Yeah, about 2
About
years
2 years ago.
2.5.
2 years ago.
I think it might have been more than
Kickstarter.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Okay.
I will
actually
never do
Game Town.
Kickstarter again. Not because Kickstarter's bad, but because Kickstarter's bad. And because the people that use it shouldn't be. And I'm so challenged to not throw shade.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I was very excited about this game. Very, very like thrilled, like sold, traded off stuff. Like, oh, I got to trade this. And I wheeled and dealed and made a deal with Uncle Paul here for the all-in. I want all the models. I want all the content. I want all of it. Supremo version
You still want all of it.
of ISS Vanguard. Wasn't it supposed to show up today? It was supposed to show up today, March 11th. This is like 2 years later.
Wow, perfect.
It was. I
perfect.
have the email that says I was expecting a FedEx today. for this game that last month I decided I'm going to crack the demo copy because I'm sick of waiting for this game that somehow
the demo copy that we received.
I've had a
2 months
retail
ago.
version on my shelf for at least 9 months, but somehow the guys that kickstarted this game and talked me into, I am going to go ahead and all in. What was it? Like $260. $260. I want the all-in thing. It was probably more than that, man. I was so frustrated that fine print. Oh, by the way, you got the all-in version. You're in wave 2 of shipping. When's wave 2 of shipping? TBA. So I get to wait until Asmodee is selling me the game that I kickstarted.
I think
And Court laughs because he knows how challenged I am to not tell them to go themselves.
I think the best part was when Christos saw us playing. He's like, "Oh yeah, I played this game.
I played this months ago. I was like, "Are you kidding me?
This game was cool.
This game is cool." And I kickstarted this. Oh man, I'm so frustrated just thinking about ISS Vanguard and the lousy kickstarting whatever the crowdfunding obviously worked. You got your game produced. You sold it to Asmodee before you sent me a copy when I was all in. That is not cool. That's as nice and PC as I can put that. Not cool. Shame on you.
Like, you guys should have seen how happy Mike was for this game. Like, this was the happiest I had probably ever seen.
I'm going to outer space. It's a campaign where I go to outer space and the whole thing's in a book. I can do it with my friends. I can do it alone. This is rad.
He was
2
like a
years
kid
later,
at Toys
where's
R
my
Us. He
game?
was this happy about
Where's
it.
my game?
Okay, well, you got, okay, let's fast forward because I know we're going to bring Salt again.
Oh, man.
You got the game, you crack it open, it looks gorgeous.
You know what? It looked good for sure. That said, for $160, why am I paying extra for plastic models when there's a bunch of punch outs and it's just like a cool mini or not game? I don't need any of this crap. It's book and card driven. Book, cards, and dice, and you sold me in the all-in with minis and they look gorgeous. Oh, but you don't get them till 2 years later.
I was told this was going to be the bad rulebook podcast. I think it's turning
this is
into
bad Kickstarter.
Crowdfunding is
off.
Crowdfunding is garbage. Podcast.
Okay, we're sitting at the table. You crack open the rule book. You're going to start playing it. And then a half hour goes by.
No, it was like 45 minutes had gone by and we barely.
Yeah, it was.
I think we
it was
got
like
to
an
our
hour.
first dice roll 45 minutes in, and then the way the mechanic worked was still like in debate where we have to go back to the rule book. That's poorly written.
It had me. I went first, and it had me roll the dice, and then it said,
Oh, by the way,
whatever you rolled doesn't matter. Change the dice to these sides so that we can teach you how this thing works.
So it had you practice dice roll.
Basically. It's good. I don't play many dice games anymore. So
maybe you've forgotten.
I might have
In
forgotten.
case you haven't rolled dice before.
Yeah.
But you invested a lot of money into this game.
Yeah.
Maybe this is your first game ever.
I have forgotten how much we paid for that Kickstarter, and I want to. It was
I wanna
between like $260 and $400.
I think it was closer to the 400 mark.
I think it was,
because you
too.
traded me your Star Wars Legion
Like
army.
everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that how long ago it was?
Yes.
The Legion
Yeah,
army?
we were still playing Legion.
it was the
I
Imperial
still
Legion
had a
army.
Legion army. What?
My gosh.
That is insane.
Mm-hmm.
So did you even end up playing a full game yet?
No.
Oh my
And honestly, I think I'm so frustrated with it. The Kickstarter is supposed to show up today.
Yeah.
So I guess, in the next 2 hours and change, maybe FedEx surprises
Sure.
us.
We'll see.
But it's going on the shelf once it does. And unless you want it, bro, I'm serious. I'm so over this game. I'm so
I
frustrated.
don't know. I spent so much money on that game. It's like
You should keep it.
I don't necessarily. And to be fair,
This sounds like bad rulebook, bad game.
so
The game might be great. It's just like
it was a cool game. I think the presentation it did a thing that was different enough. The promises that we saw snippets of while playing the game were all there that I think it's a good game.
I think it probably is a good game. I think it probably is too. That said, like any game, whether it be video game, board game, any game that salts me this bad for any reason. The other game, Red November, was another bad rulebook, decent game. But oh my God, you had to read a 45-minute rulebook to understand what I could have paraphrased in 5 minutes. Like, oh, horrible.
I remember when the shop had first opened and I came in and we were like looking at the game library, and I want to say I had asked what game do you guys want to play, and you know, it was you and me and Jonesy or whatever, we were hanging out, and you said just go pick a game off the shelf, just not Red November.
Okay.
So I've never played Red November, but I've heard enough about it
as one of the worst rule books, but decent game. I'm gonna jump in and say I will emphasize good game before I say bad rule book. Queen by Midnight. Queen by Midnight by Darrington Press. Great game, very fun. I don't even like deck building games. Like I'm not a big fan of you got to build it during the game and all that stuff. But when it came out,
I've got a whole world to introduce you to, Corey.
I'm fine. Perfect. I'm good. I'm good here.
I got you, buddy.
It's all right. But Mike was like, "Hey, new game. It's hot. Looks great. Check it out. We're gonna do the learn to play on it." I was like, "Okay." Busted it open. The production's phenomenal. It's got a dice tower that works with like the clock tower. You turn the dial. It tells you what turn you're in based on time and all that. And it stores really well in the box, which is a huge bonus. Art is phenomenal. It's great. I read the rule book and half of it makes sense. There are so many, okay, well then what if you do this? Nope. Flip through. Nope, nothing. Okay, well, is this an action I can take? Because it kind of says I can do this, but it doesn't really say I can do this. The way it's worded. Terrible. I watched, I forget who, I kind of don't want to out them, but I watched somebody do the learn to play on it. I was like, this is even worse. And then I found one that actually really worked, and it was good. And I ended up playing it that day. Great game. But again, there were so many scenarios in that of like, people would ask questions like, well, can you do this? Or what happens when this card goes here? And I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't say. The next week, Darrington Press put out a huge errata, which literally took keywords out of the game. Said, hey, really? when it says this, ignore that. Ignore that. And here's your FAQs, here's everything else, and here's our official learn to play video within a week. Because people were so pissed off. And maybe I'm the only one that was pissed off, but I looked at forums and it was like, this doesn't work. I don't know what I'm doing. I think this is right. And it's a great game. It is a great game. But
would you say the new FAQ and video, like, does it help?
Yes, for some things, but like, I kind of wish they would have said, hey, keep your proof of purchase or whatever, and we'll send you a new printed rule book. Because
it sounds like you need all new cards, though.
There are mechanics in there. If I read them correctly, they literally say, when this says this, don't worry about it. It's not even there anymore.
Just
like keyword on a card. So anyways, that's mine. Good game, bad rule book, Queen by Midnight. Michael, what you got? Anything?
I'm going to be real honest. I don't play many board games or many games that require me to like actually sit down and like
I got one for you.
In depth read the rules.
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering.
Because all they give you is like the little
the rule book
thing.
is all on the cards.
That's not true.
There's
a proper Magic rule book online, and it's just stupid long.
It's like 300 pages or something.
But I would say most people learn how to play either through Arena or the Xbox game or just other people teaching you.
I'm joking. I mean, it's... So I remember back when I was playing, when I first got into the game in 4th edition, they used to give you the little pocket rule books. I think I still have one. And the game's changed a lot since then.
Sure.
But like ultimately what it boils down to is now if a rules question comes in and you don't have a judge standing by, it's like, well, according to 207.6, this happens. And that's not a slight on Wizards of the Coast or anything. Like it's an incredibly complex game with 30,000 rules modifying pieces. So I get it, but like,
all right, to be honest though, like in like real world experiences, that doesn't really come up. Like we've had, obviously, working here, we have people ask us magic questions and whatnot, but most of them have been like just pretty easy. Like, oh, cool, they're easily solved. I can't really name something off the top of my head that was like, oh, well, you have to dig into section 300 C and then subtext D to get your answer.
There's been a couple times where I've gone that deep on things, but yeah, generally speaking, with Magic specifically, if you're familiar with the game structure and how the game is actually played and the basic rules, then yeah, whatever you think is probably the ruling, that's probably it in most cases. Yeah. But yeah, there's a couple outliars. But yeah, 100%. I was just kind of like, that's a game you play with a very complicated rule set.
I will admit, I have not sat down to read this rules
no
thing.
One has.
So.
One, I think you'll agree with me, Paul, since you're a fellow LCG fan. I really like the way FFG does here's your learn to play book and here's your rules references book, which I know when people first get the game, you're like, oh my God, there's 2 books on this. But no. Do the learn to play. Right. Here's everything that's really good. They do a really good job of that. Yeah, no. Well,
because like fantasy, that's I mean, new, right? Like newer. So I did air quotes in an audio format. So
you suck.
Yeah, that's true. So part of the thing with Red November is Red November came out around that time in like the 2008 to 2015 era of Fantasy Flight games.
It was a great time.
It was a great time. They made wonderful games. Almost every single rule book was hot garbage, and they were all overcomplicated. They didn't flow in a logical progression. And so one of the big core tenets that Fantasy Flight had recently, that was probably right before COVID, so probably around 17, 18, is they went through and they started doing the rules reference and learn to play guides with a lot of their, especially their card games.
Yeah.
And it's been a world of different. I think most people look at a Fantasy Flight game now and think, oh, that's a great rule book. It taught me how to play the game. And then if I have more complex questions later, I just look up, the rules reference. Yeah. And it's structured in a way that makes sense, and you can usually find what you're looking for.
Yeah. Well, it's alphabetical the way they structure it, so it's just easy and great.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not always like off of keywords. Sometimes it's like, well, what do I do when my deck is empty? So you go and you look at like deck. Yeah. And it's like, if your deck is empty, go to page 76 and look at this term. And so they do that in the rules reference where it makes a lot of sense a lot of times. Not always, but like that's one example.
No, I think that's a good way to do it too.
I feel like talking about Fantasy Flight games and their games, I just remembered one thing that I don't know if it falls into this category, and I might even be just misremembering it as a whole, but there was something with their Star Wars collectible card game, the dice rolling one, Star Wars Destiny, where I'm pretty sure they made a ruling where if a card tells you to make either or option, instead of going for the one that you can complete, you can just choose to do one that you cannot fulfill. Like one of Mike's favorite cards, Let the Wookiee Win, I think either like let you discard some cards or something else, and like, oh cool, I'm gonna choose to discard the cards, but I have no cards in hand, so like this card now did less than what it used to do prior to this. Now, again, I might be misremembering it, but I think that's what it was.
If you gave your opponent a choice, your opponent could choose the one that didn't affect them. If they didn't fulfill the requirements. So, to put it in Magic terms, it was like if I play a card that says opponent chooses sacrifice 2 creatures or you draw a card. The opponent had no creatures in play, then they could choose the sacrifice 2 creatures option. And up until that point in Destiny's life cycle, we weren't sure how that worked, so we were playing, okay, you have to choose the option that changes the game state.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so that's kind of how that
the verbiage
worked.
of the card was specifically force an opponent to choose A or B. And the ruling was specifically the thing you're forcing is the choice, but they can choose either or.
Okay.
And that ruling is dumb. That's it.
One thing that they do, because I'm a big Lord of the Rings LCG fan, it's one of my favorite games, there's the Grim rule.
Yeah.
And Arkham kind of has this, right? Yeah. So it's, for those of you guys who don't know, it's if you can't decide what happens based on a ruling, you take the worst case scenario.
I like that.
And it's because it's just the
There's
Grim
a
rule.
rule.
It's
Yeah.
there to- oh, would I draw 6 or 7 in this? Nope, you draw 6. Oh, does this make this guy die? Does that happen? I can't find any clarity. Yep, he will die.
The specific ruling for the Grim rule is if you have a rules discrepancy or
Yeah.
you need to look up a rule in the rule book, instead of stopping the game and looking up the rule, choose the worst option.
Yeah, the worst.
And that's
case
a great
scenario.
rule.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the Earthborn games, or Earthborn Ranger game that I've been playing has a similar rule, except it's called the Delightful Rule. And the Delightful Rule says the opposite. It's like if you ever have to look up a rule, you choose the one that best suits you guys.
You do you.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah, choose which
Does
one
Champions
best
have something like that? I feel like
Champions
it has to, right?
has I forget what they call. I don't think they call it the Grim Rule, but it basically has the
it's
Grim
same
Rule.
thing. Cool, because like again, I very rarely read rule books. Like the only time I really do is like to reference specific like scenarios. and
usually
whatnot,
you have
'cause-
me teach you.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
Or like just watch a YouTube video.
You
But-
do the same thing.
Bad idea.
Yep.
I had a couple of games written down, and we've been on the topic for a minute, so speed things up. One of the
Mike's just eating Cheetos into the mic. This is the funk right here. Like this is the
Free
You were
ASMR
saying
right
something?
here.
Gosh. Hang on. This is when this podcast.
hold on, I have to wait for this Cheeto to get
Wait,
soggy.
no. This is when this podcast turns into ASMR. Go. Just go. Just give us the crunch.
Yeah,
man.
it's
Give us
hard
the
to,
crunch.
it's hard to
Give us the
chew
crunch.
when you're laughing.
Give us the crunch.
Just don't laugh. That one sounded wet.
What is that?
That's
oh
something
my
else
gosh.
going on.
Oh.
This is some,
It's the
some
card,
card, flipping.
flipping. Yeah. Okay. What do you got?
Don't
Paul?
name it.
What do you got, Paul?
So I only thought of like 3 games. So one of the only game that I'll talk about unless there's time is Dark Souls.
Oh,
And this kind of cycles back to the
That game was
Kickstarter
hard.
thing. So Dark Souls is pretty infamous at this point for having one of the worst rule books ever written. The game was virtually unplayable, and on top of that, you were trapped in a game that was like over cumbersome, and they tried too hard to emulate
the video game.
the video game.
Yeah.
But the game was still a good game, and the miniatures were beautiful, and you know, some of us spent way too much money on it.
There's a lot of expansions
me.
for it, right?
At the time there were
So many different boxes. I remember seeing.
I want to say it was something like 14 expansions that were all released at the same time. Before the Kickstarter completed, the expansions were available for purchase with the game, and so the game hadn't even been finished yet, and you were being asked to commit to buying these
gosh.
basically miniatures.
Yeah.
So I bought a lot of it because ultimately I was like, oh, I love Dark Souls, and I can use these miniatures in Dungeons and Dragons if the game turns out to be a flop. So I don't regret it. But one of the things that was cool about it was the rule book was rewritten by the community on Board Game Geek. And so there's fan written rules that you could get. And then later on, the company that made it, Steamforge Games, went on to release a second Kickstarter that had a revised rule book that apparently fixed a lot of it. But at that point, I didn't really need to get into it. But those rules are available online, and if I ever wanted to cycle back to that game, I could play it. But that was a game that really stood out to me, and I think that kind of like I said, cycles back to ISS Vanguard. Did we ever say the name? Did I just spoil it?
We did. No. We did.
All right. So that cycles when Mike's talking, I just don't listen.
That's right.
So it cycles back to ISS Vanguard, where it's like, Kickstarter games or crowdfunded games in general tend to be one of those buyer beware moments. It's like you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. And a lot of those games end up shipping broken. But you also have several games like Earthborn Rangers where
It's just plugging away.
I'm like I said, I'm playing the game right now.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I'm having a great time.
All
That was a game that was well designed and has a solid rule book and has a really good team. And so you'll have those wins, you'll have those misses, probably more misses than hits. But yeah, like ultimately that was one that really stood out to me as being. Another one is Gloomhaven.
It's pretty similar.
Gloomhaven is the big board game for a long time. It's been dethroned a little bit.
Lower price point than ISS Vanguard.
This is absolutely accurate.
Better reviews. More playtime. Without having played either one.
And the rule book in Gloomhaven is pretty. You've played Gloomhaven. I thought we played it together.
I watched you guys play it. I think I played it for like 10 minutes. I was like, this is too busy for me.
Yeah, it was a lot of thinking for your little monkey brain.
So what he said, but no.
So the Gloomhaven, the first rule book was pretty rough. It was, things were laid out poorly, very Fantasy Flight-esque. A lot of specifically how monster AI worked didn't make sense. So a lot of people didn't end up playing it for a while until the video game came out. And then they started playing the video game and they're like, oh, that's how that works. And so
there's a video game of Gloomhaven?
Yeah, there was a video game port, and it's actually really good. It's probably the best way to play the game. And it's straight up just the board game in 3D with 3D video game characters, and it plays like a tactical game like XCOM. Once a lot of people started playing the video game, they figured out how the rules work, and then they either just stuck to playing the video game or they figured it out. Then Frosthaven came out, and the rulebook is better, but also still, it's a big game. Those are big boxes.
Huge.
So it still struggles.
Yeah.
So those were two games that I said I was only going to talk about one, but I talked too much.
No, it's good. It's good.
Oh, I'm sorry. I stopped listening.
What?
Good game, bad rule books.
Adios, mijo.
There it is.
That's Spanish.
Before we close out this one, we do have some questions from Funk Family. I ask you guys to all of our friends to shoot out some questions to us, and we got some questions in. So we're gonna kind of rapid fire these. Actually, I'm gonna save this one for you, Michael. Actually, I'm gonna say it right now. Screw it. How big of an item can be hidden within Michael's fro?
Oh, he's like Captain Caveman.
Oh, that was one question. That's good.
understood that reference.
Have you tried to hide anything in your fro?
So I remember in grade school when my hair wasn't as long as it is, but it was still pretty long. I would hide a bunch of pencils. And so like, oh, cool, I need a pencil. Shoot.
Like Grace from Ferris Bueller. She's just constantly pulling up pens and pencils.
I weep for the future.
Other than that, I think the biggest thing I've been able to hide in my hair is probably just my hair pick. Like I don't think I've really like tried to force anything into my hair.
I have managed to hide things in your hair that you didn't know were in there until like I told you like an hour later.
I don't know if
Did you even know that at all? You had no
No.
idea. Okay, well, maybe not an hour later.
Okay, maybe I didn't tell you about it.
Uh-oh.
All right, next question. I don't know if I want to say who these are from in case they're anonymous, but thank you for our Funk family on Discord, Instagram, Patreon.
You know who you are.
If each Funk employee had a Magic the Gathering card made of them, what type of creature would each of you be?
Ooh. Devil. All day long.
Salt Devil.
I don't know what that is. That sounds
creature
white.
type salt?
Salt
Hold
would
on.
have to be white, no? I feel like
No, you make
or
whatever
blue.
you want.
It's
Whatever
from
you
the
want.
sea.
Okay, so you'd be
No.
A sea devil.
I think the only card that references salt is white green, and it's the land. And if you guys have seen it behind the counter with the salt packet,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
The infamous salt packet forest.
So Mike,
Where'd
you'd
it
be-
go?
I think it's still behind
It's
the
still
counter.
behind the
Somewhere.
counter. You'd be a
Be a devil.
You'd be a devil.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I would be?
What?
I'd be an angel.
Oh, are
I'm
you
not
serious?
changing my answer.
Okay.
Whatever Mike is, I'm the exact opposite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Fucking difficult.
Yeah, I know. Michael, what do you think?
Mike
Thank
said
you.
a naughty.
Yeah. Michael.
The first one that comes up in my head, it's probably just wizard.
Yeah. Oh, I'd see that.
Cast a spell.
Capybara.
Oh, yeah. Sammy, speak up. You're here, guys.
Oh,
If you're
okay.
Sammy hasn't spoken
Capybara
up at all. in
definitely
this.
wins.
You'd be
come
like
here.
the
Come here, Sammy.
capybara
Come here.
mutant. Capybara
I'd be
giant
a wizard
mutant.
capybara.
Yeah.
Wizard, giant, capybara, mutant. You get 4 keywords.
What? I only got one.
It's because you're
Yeah,
not
but
nearly as
angel,
fancy
dude.
as him,
Angel,
and you
come on.
took a bad
That's really
choice.
good.
But I'm an angel.
Shut up! I'm gonna throw Cheetos at you.
And I think the card art would just be a normal capybara
What?
with like a cape tied around its neck, like little kid superhero style, and then a wizard hat.
So the otter from Wilds of Eldraine,
No, he doesn't have a hat.
but a capybara,
He doesn't
which
have a
was
hat.
also included in the same. Yeah, I did.
No, he doesn't. Oh wait, hold on. He might have.
I thought he did.
I don't think it's from the same set.
There was like 2 otters in the set.
I'm thinking of the new one from Bloomborough, the one that looks like Raoul.
Yeah, not that one.
Okay, yeah,
I think
pretty
there was
much-
an Izzet otter in Wilds of Eldraine that had a hat.
I don't think he had the little kid cape. So
Probably not. No.
If we get enough Patreon supporters, I will have these cards made, and we will have rules to them and everything. I will make sure this happens if we get enough Patreon support.
When you do that,
Yeah.
can mine just be a devil but with like angel wings strapped to its back? Okay, great. Thanks.
Yes.
No.
No. Why?
No.
He
No. No. Devils aren't goofy and cute like that. What is this, secret layer drop? Get out of here with that nonsense.
What do you think? What creature type do you think I am?
Angel wings, like I'm a Victoria's Secret model. No.
What
Get out of my
creature type
magic
do you
with
think I
that.
am then?
You're closer to capybara than angel.
Yeah, I am. I'm an angel capybara.
I want to be a 3-drop red black,
what about like a
little
homunculus?
Rakdos
Paul?
devil.
but it's got to be like all colored. Like I feel like it's 2 black. No, 1 black, 1 red, and one of those half like hybrid pips.
Yeah.
So you
trying
get your
so hard
choose.
right now.
No. It's going to be a small little utility thing. I'm not legendary. I'm just like a utility creature, like something like, what's this, crime novelist? Something that's just banging like a $5 uncommon
Sure.
that you want. It's a rad devil.
I found out tonight from Andrew that the crime novelist was originally going to be legendary. They had to change it because it would be too broken as a commander.
Oh, okay.
No, make him green and then he's fine. Just make him green,
absolutely.
add green to it, and then yeah, make it
No,
your
of
commander.
course.
Also, make it a 2-drop instead of a 3-drop, and it gives you your choice of red or green, and that's just when you tap a land.
Yeah.
The wizard has spoken.
Somebody's jealous.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not green, so I don't care.
I want to be a vampire. I want to be a vampire pirate.
You know, I knew you were going to say vampire, and that's just
I
so
know.
boring.
I don't care.
It fits though. Like,
Thank you.
He can't have any other option.
If the
I
shoe
appreciate it.
fits.
That's right. Yep. Vampire pirate. Boom.
What?
If the glove don't fit,
You must have quit.
all
He
right.
doesn't get the reference. It's okay.
You weren't born.
He
that's
doesn't
what
either.
That's what I was pointing at my
Oh,
hand.
was that actually what
Yeah.
you were referencing? Okay, I didn't realize.
Last thing, this isn't a question, but this is actually a really good suggestion that came in. For the record, I think it would be cool to make a set of tokens to sell where each one is a different Funk employee.
We've had a similar conversation.
Isn't that like
totally
a
do that.
total of 4 tokens?
Yeah, but you could have different varieties.
I just want all
Because
mine.
Alex would have one that's just like dwarf rogue.
What if you just see
and
the
he would
top
have
of his head?
Pokemaster.
Like in Alex's, it's just the top of his head. And like for mine, it's
no,
just
but
like
it's cut off. Like,
I love it.
for mine, it's just like my eyes, and the rest is like just hair.
Just
I
hair.
think it's
Like
just,
in my
I think it's
ID
just the
picture.
back of your head.
with something that
Which
Paul
is just
put in
hair.
it.
Yeah.
with a pencil.
Yeah. With
Or
just
with
like
Paul coming out of, like, Paul peeking
Paul
out.
peeking
mean-
out, talking about his new game,
What was it called?
I'm not bringing it up again.
exploring.
You can't make me do
radicals. Hang on,
Isn't it something
Renegades
Earth?
of Exploration.
Nailed it.
Did I get it?
No. I thought it was like something Earth.
Earthbound Explorers.
So spot on.
Earthworm Jim.
Yep.
Got it. Nailed it. Thank you guys.
Groovy.
Thank you so much. If there's nothing else, thank you guys for listening to our latest episode of the Funkatronic Rex podcast. Please follow us on all the social medias and everything. Come down to Phoenix, check us out, stop by, say hi. Thank you guys for being here. Paul, thank you so much for being a huge part of our community. You kind of are integral in creating this community. So big thank you to you. Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure.
But it's not
He'll
Spanish.
be back. He'll be back for sure. Thank you guys.
Gracias. That's Spanish.
Thank you for listening to the Funkatronic Rex podcast. You can find more of the funk at funkatronicrex.com, Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. If you'd like to support the funk and the shop, please join us on Patreon and become a patron of the funk. If you're in the Phoenix area, please swing by and come check us out. We'd love to meet you and get a game in. You can also reach us by sending an email to shop@funkatronicrex.com. Stay up, stay true, and don't forget, stay funky.